O.J. Simpson, 30 years after the trial of the century. Can you believe that it has been 30 years since O.J. Simpson was declared not guilty in one of the most watched and controversial criminal trials in the history of the United States of America? The ruling of the jury was revealed on October 3, 1995, and the entire globe came to a complete halt. A man who had previously been revered as a football superstar, movie star, and national idol was the subject of almost 150 million people tuning in live, holding their breath as they waited to hear the ultimate fate of this individual. The verdict left the entire country reeling. Others applauded. Others responded with indignation. Around the course of several weeks, the decision was the topic of discussion in homes, schools, and places of employment all around the United States. That moment was more than just the conclusion of a trial proceeding. It was a seismic event in the culture. National conversations on issues such as race, privilege, policing, celebrity, and justice were sparked as a result of this event. The trial of O.J. Simpson evolved into much more than a murder trial. It became a mirror that reflected the most profound differences in the United States. And even today, after several decades have passed, you can still hear those discussions. The verdict is not the only thing that we remember in the year 2025. We also recall the chaos, bewilderment, and fascination that surrounds it. When it comes to modern history, the criminal trial of O.J. Simpson is still considered to be one of the most scrutinized and repeated sagas. The journalist Greta Van Susteren sat down with Kato Kaelin, the previously modest house guest who became an instant celebrity during the trial, in order to revisit the topic. His story, which is given 30 years later, is a combination of introspection and revelation, and it is still full with questions that have not been resolved. Kato remembers how rapidly her life changed after the night of June 12, 1994, when Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman were slain outside of Nicole's home in Brentwood. In a moment of reflection on the unfathomable passage of time, he remarked, "30 years goes by in the blink of an eye." "Enjoy life, son," my parents would tell me over and over again. Similar to a semester in college, it passes quickly. As it turned out, they were. Prior to the occurrence of the killings, Kaelin was residing in a guest house that was located on Simpson's property. Instantaneously, his life became a part of a media maelstrom that was unlike anything the nation had ever witnessed before. It was impossible to avoid the coverage. Continuous footage was captured by the cameras. In the vicinity of Simpson's Rockingham estate, the streets were filled with reporters. Throughout the day and night, helicopters hovered in the air. All of the individuals who were involved in the investigation became characters in a story that the entire world was following. Kaelin stated, "There has never been anything that is comparable to it." It served as a model for each and every significant trial that happened after it. To this day, that blueprint continues to influence the way that high-profile cases are covered. A new era of televised justice was ushered in with the O.J. trial, which featured courtroom cameras and commentary that lasted around the clock. It made it difficult to differentiate between news, entertainment, and fixation altogether. In the beginning, Kaelin says that he did not want to have anything to do with it. After some time, however, he made the decision to recover his narrative. At the present time, he is a co-host on the popular true crime podcast known as 1 Degree of Scandalous, alongside journalist Tom Zenner. By use of it, he revisits situations that upset the public, and he even occasionally revisits his own cases periodically. Kaelin and Zenner were recently invited to appear in front of law enforcement and investigators, including a session with former Los Angeles Police Department officer Tom Lang, who was the one who led the investigation into the Simpson case. The statement that Kaelin made was, "If that isn't a full circle, I don't know what is." During the time when Greta and Kaelin were looking back, their talk shifted to the aspects of the trial that were often forgotten, such as the evidence and witnesses who were never summoned. One of the most persuasive was a man named Skip Junius, who claimed to have witnessed Simpson dispose of a small duffel bag at the airport on the night of the killings. Junius is a credible character in the field of public relations. He saw O.J. take the bag, reach halfway into it, and then place it carefully in a trash can, Kaelin remembered. He thought it was so funny. It was not thrown away. It moved into place. Who would throw something away in such a situation? In addition to the legal drama, the case included a very human and profoundly tragic aspect. Nicole Brown Simpson was not involved in a romantic relationship with Ron Goldman, who was only 25 years old at the time. As a server, he brought a pair of glasses that she had neglected to bring back to her house. He found himself at the wrong place at the wrong time as a result of a straightforward act of compassion. "My heart bleeds for the Goldmans," Kaylin stated on the occasion. "They will never be able to find peace. Ron will never have the opportunity to start a family or watch his parents grow older. Nicole will not be able to witness her children's marriages or the birth of grandkids." It brings tears to my eyes. Following his acquittal in 1995, Simpson's life proceeded to decline and fall apart. In 2008, he was found guilty of armed robbery and kidnapping in Las Vegas. This occurred when he attempted to retrieve sports memorabilia that he said was his personally. Over the course of 9 years, he was incarcerated before being granted parole in the year 2017. Simpson and Kaylin never got back in touch with one another after that. It had been many years since the last time he had seen him, and it was during a deposition for the civil trial that discovered Simpson to be responsible for the fatalities. It was around this time that Kaylin said, "He walked into the bathroom while I was there. He simply glanced at me and asked, 'Hey, what's up?' After I had finished telling him everything I had to say about him, I became numb. On my own, I left. That was the end of it. The riddles continue to exist." Greta brought up a point that has been puzzling many people for many years: the alarm system that is installed at OJ's residence. After Simpson had left for the airport that evening, Kaylin had said at that same moment. Even though the detectives entered the house some hours later, there was no evidence that they had deactivated the alarm. Is it possible that another person entered the room in the meantime? Kaylin took a rest. It was a whisper that he said, "That has always haunted me. It is not impossible. That is something that I continue to contemplate." After that, there were the strange coincidences that occurred. On the evening of the murders, Nicole and her companions had intended to eat at a restaurant known as Toscana, but due to the fact that the gathering was too large, they decided to eat at Mezzaluna instead. Mezzaluna was the very establishment where Ron Goldman worked. "You find out things like that 30 years later," Kaylin remarked that he has learned. "It's just chilling. It seems as though life was designed with this peculiar and terrible plan." Kaylin has made an effort to find peace despite all of the sadness and speculation that has occurred. He is able to deliver stories that investigate the truth, justice, and the human aspect of scandals because of the platform that his podcast provides him with. The confession that he made was, "At first, I didn't want to accept it. However, it is included in my life. Consequently, I am making an effort to use it now in order to connect with others and to convey tales that are significant." Greta and Cato had a lighter time together as their chat was coming to a close. They reminisced about their shared Wisconsin backgrounds and their passion for football. A grin appeared on Greta's face as she stated, "We still text during Packers games. Have fun, Packers." O.J. Simpson's case continues to have a significant impact on the American psyche, even after the verdict of not guilty was handed down 30 years ago. It was more than just a drama that took place in a courtroom. It was a national reckoning that compelled people to confront truths that were unsettling to them regarding justice, bias, and the influence of fame. The case became the crossroads of athletics, racism, and celebrity at a time when the United States of America was just beginning to comprehend the extent to which these three factors were interwoven. Even after Simpson passed away in 2024, controversy has continued to be a topic of discussion. Was O.J. Simpson a man who was wrongfully accused by a defective system? Or was he a murderer who was absolved of his crime? Were the media able to assist in the emergence of the truth, or did they bury it under the weight of spectacle? And perhaps the most eerie question of all is whether or not we have ever truly gained anything from it. It has been 30 years and those questions continue to reverberate throughout time. They remain unsolved, uncomfortable, and unforgettable. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.